Yo, what's going on, people? So, just how I anticipated, it's really backed up, like congested with traffic on these roads because I got to get on the highway. And I want to just wait till things just diminish. But I got time to sit around because, like, I don't know the effect of what just being in traffic, not driving your car, can do to your car. I don't really know cars like that. So, to help me out, because I did a lot of reading today, I read on my phone through like audiobooks. I learned 24 new things today. And just give a little fun fact for everything I learned today. Um, One fact that I learned. Albert Einstein, that whole myth that he was bad at math is not true. He was actually a pretty good student. He just didn't like the way that they were teaching. He didn't like the lack of creativity in his schools. And you guys know he fled Germany when Hitler rose to power. He settled in New Jersey. I got to see where he died at. And I believe, too, if I'm not mistaken, Stephen Hawkins died the same day as Thomas Einstein. Maybe somebody else, but they both died the same day. And one more thing I learned is the guy that started Tesla, Nikola Tesla. Yeah, he died in poverty. He had mental illness and he died broke. So that's another fun fact for you. Anyway, let's pick back up where we were, because when I was in the break room, I watched some commercials for just to bring back my memory a little bit. I wanted to see if anything can come back, and I want to correct myself. If you watched all these videos from beginning to end, thank you. You really are a good listener. But I want to correct some things. So first, because I did a little research, the mall, if you ever seen the Fat Albert movie, it was not in Cheltenham Mall. It was in Los Angeles. That was a mall in Los Angeles. So I apologize, but the interior of that mall looked just like Cheltenham Mall. Now, when I said I lived around a lot of Asian people, I did some research, and I never knew this. My city, the block that I grew up on, it bordered Koreatown, Philadelphia. I never heard of Koreatown before. Because if you're from a city, you don't really know it by neighborhood or section. You just go by streets. Like, yo, that's 52nd and Market. That's Popular Street. You don't say, oh, that's the North Central section, or hey, that's Roxborough right there. Well, people know Roxborough, but you don't really go by section. You go by the block, or like, yo, that's Stanton Avenue right there. You don't say, oh, that's Stanton Avenue will be classified as closer. I really wouldn't know. I really don't know. But anyway, to pick things back up, because we're gonna go into 05 next. All the months, like I said, I think of all the music that I listened to. Now, there were some rap songs like Little John's "Get Low" was on the computer on Windows Media. The WWE original soundtrack was on Windows Media, and so was this album by the dad's girlfriend or her daughter. They had the BET Awards album, like a little album for that, and the song "Stand Up" was on there by somebody named Shauna. Ludacris is featured, and "Crazy in Love" with Beyonce was on there too. Now, my most exposure to music was through games, because like I said, there was no internet like we have today. So Madden 05 introduced me to rap and rock. Vice City introduced me to 80s music that I didn't know of. And the theme songs that we listened to on wrestling introduced us to other like genres like grunge and hard rock, heavy metal, country. So that was my introduction to music through video games. Because we didn't have, like I said, now some days, because looking into like the fall of '04 when I was in 4th grade. We had a TV in our room, but if we wanted to go downstairs and just chill, the daughter of my dad's girlfriend, she would like have MTV on, and I didn't really care for MTV at the time. It wasn't something that was for kids. I didn't have an interest in it, so I was exposed to music through her, like watching MTV, like the Snoop Dogg video. I remember when it first premiered on MTV, to Drop It Like It's Hot. I remember when that premiered, and there were shows that were just gaining popularity. Pimp My Ride came out that year. Fat Camp. These shows I remember. Fat Camp, Pimp My Ride. Because I really wasn't into MTV. And this is also maybe late '04, but early '05. So we're going into '05 now. Oh, one more thing I want to tell you guys too. For that Christmas party, because the thing was, if I told you, maybe I didn't tell you. So Christmas really sucked. That was the worst Christmas ever. As an adult, I appreciate anything my dad has done for me. Anything he's ever done for me, I do appreciate it from the bottom, from my heart. I appreciate it. But we weren't bad kids. We were getting bullied in school. We were just defending ourselves. But we had to wait the whole day just to get our gifts. We didn't get them under a tree. He had to bring them over to us. He had to drive like late as hell, and we got our gifts, and it didn't really feel like Christmas. It wasn't as a family, you know. His girlfriend, her daughter had to come. My half brother from Ohio came, and it wasn't fun, man. It was just a real. It just didn't feel like Christmas. And we had a rat, by the way, too. We had a rat running around in our apartment. So I was a little scared of mice back then. So that also made things suck too. But we didn't kill it. We just, looking back, I'm glad we didn't kill it. We got it to just leave. When we cleaned our room up, it just left. And rats, at the time, rats rarely came in our apartment. Rarely did they come. But one thing I want to point out is Christmas time, I spent Christmas with one of the, what you classify as a legend in the Philadelphia battle rap scene, underground scene. There was a rapper whose name is Young Spittage. You can look up who that is, but Young Spittage was a rapper who was most likely going to get signed to a label. I don't know, because it's a lot of good rappers from Philly who didn't really go mainstream, but they have a nice reputation amongst, the battle rap scene, them just doing interviews, just them working in the industry. They have a good reputation. But as an adult, I listen to a lot of his music, and it's really good. I can understand it now. Now, as a kid, I may have thought he was garbage, but as an adult, I think he like a lot of the stuff he rapped about was like I love his music. I love his music. I spent Christmas with him, and I didn't know that was him at the time. But I spent Christmas, and I'm gonna talk about him later on. But I spent Christmas day with him. They were playing Madden 05 on my dad's girlfriend's brother's game console. They had the same game as us. I didn't interact with him at all. I never met him. I never said, "Yo, I'm Justin and you are Young Spittage." I never met him before, but we did spend Christmas with each other in the same house, because he has a big reputation in Philly. I'll just say that. I'm gonna talk about him later on. And this kind of closes 04. I told you about all my trips. For Halloween, I dressed up as a ghetto ass Spider-Man. I just had a hood on my head. You know how he had that hood on when he was wrestling Bonesaw? I had that on my head, and I pretended to be Spider-Man for Christmas, because I was too young. I was too old to be dressing up as characters. And that's about it. I had a SpongeBob folder too. My brother had one similar where it had like kelp on it, the kelp candy bar. And I had one where he was fighting Sandy with that karate costume on. And yeah, the bullying, it stopped. So yeah, and I'm not really watching wrestling like that anymore because wrestling's starting to suck. It wasn't. It's like it wasn't as great as it was, and I could see the change in it because I'm not watching it like I once did. So yeah, 2005. I don't remember who I spent New Year's with, but this is going to be a new year, and what I can remember, let's just fast forward to January 05, was going to be my 10th birthday. I was going to turn 10 that year, and if anything you know about up north, it snows a lot. If you don't have the privilege of going on the East Coast or going up north anywhere, it snows a lot up north. So for my 10th birthday, I had the choice of either staying at my mom's house and celebrating Christmas there, or going to my dad's, traveling all over there by bus to his house. Now, my brother was 11 at the time, so he was old enough to walk with me to the bus. It's not like we were 8 and 9 getting on the bus by ourselves. No, sometimes he was responsible enough to watch me, and we got on the bus. So we got on the 57 bus, and we traveled all the way down to Southwest Philly to my dad's house from my mom's. The reason why I went over to my dad's, even though I wasn't comfortable going over there was more things, as in there was a full fridge. He worked. It was 2 people there, 2 people that worked. There were more like I felt safe in my mom's house because I didn't deal with the daughter or her mom nagging me. Take my belt off. I didn't have to worry about her mom nagging me or anything like that. But there was just more things because they have pictures of when that day happened. They have pictures of my birthday in like a little storage bin. They still have them to this day because I haven't been to the house going on 3 years now. But everything I may want to reminisce is in my mind. I don't really need pictures. But I remember we took the 70 bus to Fern Rock, got on the train, got on the trolley. See, the bus was a real drag getting on, but the train is underground, so that wasn't a thing. And we caught a trolley to the house, all the way down there, because I wouldn't have had him drive there in the blizzard snow. But we went all the way to my dad's house from my mom's, to Southwest Philly, and around this time, the Eagles are winning games where they potentially will go to the Super Bowl 39. So that's also big too. I remember when during the announcements, they would announce people's birthdays on the weekend or the day, and they said mine's, and there were 2 other people whose birthday was before mine, and it was a kid who I want to name later on whose birthday was like a day or 2 before mine. But I just wanted to go to my dad's because there was more to do. And what we did was we played in the snow the whole day. I remember we ate a cake with my face on it. There was a picture that I used. I don't know if they do this anymore, but my class picture, they used that for the cake. And my mom's girlfriend, my dad's girlfriend got that. She got that cake done at a place called Denise's or something. I've never been there before. I heard it's really popular. And she went there, got that cake, and I didn't really get along with with her daughter at all. I really didn't get along with her. So let me just, there's some things I don't even want to really talk about. I had fun that day. Like I said, I got money, I had gifts. I don't remember what I got exactly. I really don't remember. But the thing was, I always got things during the year. Like, I have action figures. To this day, I probably still have. I don't know at her house. I really don't. But because she told me she gave like one of my toys away to a cousin of mine on her side of the family. That it doesn't bother me or anything, because I don't play with toys. But I had like a Randy Orton action figure, the one from Backlash where he fought Mick Foley, where he had like the Evolution shirt on. I had the Shelton Benjamin action figure. I got the all the toys I got that year from 05. I had I already had Triple H. I already had, I don't know what happened to Eddie Guerrero. And I think around this time too, I had a ring, because I had so many rings. I had maybe 3 wrestling rings. I had a wrestling ring where you had like the little blanket where you have to like pull over, like where it would conceal where the weapons are. I had like a little blanket where that said WWF on it. And I had weapons, man. And oftentimes I would just me and my brother, really at my mom's house, that's where all our toys were, I would play with the we would have these mock kind of like wars. We would like get all our toys together and we would have like a war going on in our room if we got bored playing PlayStation. And one more thing I want to point out too, like I said, around this time, this is 2005. I'm 10 years old, and I'm a better student because my dad is making sure I do my work in the library every day. I'm still not understanding the stuff that I'm learning. I'm not really applying anything I learned to my life, or I'm not really understanding it. I'm just really reciting what I hear, and when I see it on the test, I'm like, oh, I know what that is. But here's a perfect example of what I mean by that. So I remember we had a project for social studies where we had to name 5 famous Pennsylvanians. We had to do a report on all of them, get like a little poster board. And I remember I did Bill Cosby. I did Jim Kelly. I can't even remember this. Jim Kelly, the football player. It was some more people I did, because she told the class, don't pick a bunch of rappers and basketball players. But I remember I did Bill Cosby, I did Jim Kelly, and there was some more people I did. I can't remember the other 3. But the point I'm making is, so I would just, like I said, I would recite a lot of things I would hear through the book. If I had to read, I would just recite things. I never really understood them, whatever I was reading. So if a book was telling me like you guys know what the word dead weight means. It means like a burden. You know, you're like an unnecessary additional factor. That's what dead weight is. That's like a burden for people. I would just hear that as a kid, hear it enough times, read it enough times, and recite it. But I would not understand the concept of using the word burden. Like I would just hear things. I never understood them like I do now. But in spite of that, I wound up getting pretty good grades. I did good in sort of all my classes, looking back. But I still didn't understand the concept of things. And like I said, I always had help on projects. They didn't do the projects for me, but they always would help me with them. Like, we had this project where we had to make a character out of different planets. And people would have their displays of the projects outside the classroom. Oh, one thing I didn't like, one thing I hated in 4th grade, I didn't like when the door was open. I hated that shit so much. So when we were in class, right? It's just something about having a door open really irritated me because I didn't like people from different classrooms looking inside the classroom. I did not like that. I hated it. I hated it so much. One time, I closed the door. I like silently closed the door, and she opened the door back up. And I didn't like the fact you got third graders looking in here, you got first graders looking in here, you got second graders looking here. I didn't like people looking inside the classroom, so I always would try to close the door. And I did get, like I said, I got my teacher a card for her birthday because she told me it was after mine. And looking back, I may have had a crush on my teacher because she was my brother's first grade teacher. I may have had a crush on her, like when I was like, see, I don't think the way I did now. I do now, like I did. I don't think the way I do now at 10. Let me rephrase that again. I don't think the way I think now sexually. I never thought that way at 10, but I may have had a crush on her. You know, because when she wasn't like teaching, she didn't look like how I would, you know, how I was used to her seeing, how I was used to her looking. You know, she didn't have to wear makeup. She was a very attractive teacher, and I don't think she has kids to this day because she didn't have any kids when I was her student. Maybe her kids, her students were more like her kids. I don't know. But the one thing I never understood too, I didn't understand for a woman to be pregnant, she had to be impregnated by a man. You know, you have to, you know, be, you know, a man has to plant a seed inside of a female to, you know, make babies. I thought women naturally get pregnant. And I was telling myself, man, she's so lucky that she doesn't have to worry about having a baby, because I know that's probably a painful process. All the movies I saw that depicted pregnancy, I know she's lucky she shouldn't have to have kids. I thought that pregnancy is just like a natural. I thought that how, you know, how like certain species they reproduce sexually. I thought that women just naturally reproduce. It just like pregnancy was just a natural thing that happened to women. Because this show, around the time we're at my dad's house, we find out about this show called Maury, and this is when they're doing like those they profile like kids, like 15-year-olds getting pregnant, 16-year-olds getting pregnant, and I was just like, it's not their fault. I'm telling myself, like, I don't understand that they're having sex to have these kids. And let me also throw this part in too. So around this time, I could tell you that I didn't know I was black until about maybe kindergarten, when they taught us Black History Month. Let me make this this is very important. People need to hear this. You don't a child does not know their race until they're told by the factors around them. So Black History Month told me I was black. I didn't look at that as a bad thing. I didn't look at other black people as the enemy or anything like that. I had no opinions on black women, but I can tell you that a lot of my crushes were like I said, women on TV, white women, or teachers that I would stare at. And also, like I said, there was a white girl named Brianna who was at our school. With her last name, I don't think she was mixed race. She had to be all white. But with her last name, I don't think she was all white. But it wouldn't surprise me if her parents sent her there, because maybe that was a school close by. I don't know. But yeah, I had a little bit of a obsession with girls on TV. Like I said, around this time, I had a crush on not anymore, but I had a crush on Jamie Lynn Spears. She had a show on Nickelodeon called Zoe 101, and it was really, I'm gonna talk about that later, because that was really the second season, not really the first season. But yeah, around that time, we're talking, we're like in 2005. I began to, like I said, I'm a pretty good student. My dad's making sure we do our classwork. He drives us so we get on the bus, we get on the 2 bus all the way, and we take that to 20th and Johnson Street. No, not 20th and Johnson. We take it to Shunk Street. I forget what stop we get off, but we go to South Philly. We go to the library there because it's closer to his job. He makes sure we do our work. We get there because we get out of school at 2:45, so we get there around like maybe 3:30, almost 4, I don't know. And we do our work. He makes sure we get our homework done. My brother is such a better student than me. Sometimes he's not even doing his work there. He's just goofing around, but he's such a better student than I am. And sometimes I would get a little frustrated, but it was a pretty good environment. Sometimes we would check out books and they would be late coming back. I remember my mom may deny this now, but one time we were talking about the library. We were saying how mom, they said that you owe the library money, and she said, I don't owe the library shit. And we just laughed at that. She took back that the curse word because you shouldn't curse around kids, of course. But I remember she said, I don't owe the library shit. And I'm like I said this, I have a little more praise for my mom because she didn't have a guy around us. Now she did. This is kind of back to 2004. She did really briefly date some trolley driver. She dated a guy who drove the 15 trolley named Mr. Tony, and it didn't really last long. He drove us home one time. This one time I got lost at a college basketball game. This was when Janair Nelson played for St. Joe's. He beat Boston College, and I got lost because I thought that the bus was on the other side of the street. He wound up picking us up. So I really gotta say maybe 2003, but I didn't see him after 2004 coming back. So 2004, I don't know when they broke up, but I remember when I mentioned him one time, she just said he's a drunk, and he all he did was smoke. Because he did come in our house one time and he did smoke in our house. But I'm glad he didn't move in or he had kids, because like I said, I don't know what could have happened because it's a little different when you have a man around. And I'm just grateful that I didn't have to deal with having another man living under the same roof as me. But like I said, around that time, 2005. Oh yeah, by the way, I left this part out. So I was getting into a lot of fights that year. I was fighting everybody in my class. Even now, it did diminish when my dad talked to Keith, because Keith was bullying me. That did stop, but that didn't stop the fact that if I would get angry or I had a disagreement with somebody, sometimes I would fight. Now I remember this kid Omari. We fought in the bathroom. Omari kicked my ass, but the thing was, I had heart back then. I wasn't afraid to not fight because wrestling conditioned me. Watching it on TV, fighting with my brother, fighting with the girl that lived in my house, it conditioned me to do what I had to do. And like I said, people that were weaker than me, I would practice my moves on people, or whatever I saw on TV, I would always do to another person. So remember this kid Darren? I was in Father Neil's office one time. I was in Father Neil's. I don't know what I did, but I was getting in trouble a lot. And Darren, he struck me one time. He punched me, and just how on wrestling when you get hit and you hit him back, that's exactly what we did. We did that 3 times to each other, and he backed off. He backed off of me. But I wasn't afraid to fight. Like I said, there were fights. See, I don't think of it as losing. Look, at 4th grade, But I can look back and say Omari did win, but I wasn't afraid to throw hands. Like I said, fourth grade was it went by pretty good. Like I said, my dad made sure I did my homework. Whenever I had a test, I never had bad grades when he was making sure I did my work. And I forget when this happened, but you know when you have a substitute teacher and you play around. So one day, Miss Comey, my teacher, I just call her Miss Comey. That's her name. That's her last name. I'll just tell you that we had a crayon war in the fourth grade because our teacher wasn't there. We had a substitute, and this had a really bad effect on one of the kids I was fighting, because I started that war, man. This started with it. So bussing on somebody back then, I don't know what they call it now, but we had this thing called bussing, and bussing was basically bussing on people's shoes, hairlines. I like to grow my hair out. I don't give a fuck about hairlines, but hairlines. If you didn't have your hair cut, or you had like hairs on the back of your neck, see, that's why I don't see a point in people wearing uniform, because they're gonna find some shit to talk about you that's besides the uniform. But me and Keith were bussing on each other. It started from bussing, and I broke a piece of crayon. I threw it at him, and he threw one at me. And that's what initiated the crayon war of 2005. So later that day, with the teachers, with her, I don't know if it was a male or female, with their back turned, man, the whole class was just, we had like a good minute where we were just throwing crayons at each other, throwing crayons. The whole, like, one side was just throwing crayons at each other, and everybody was attacking me at one point. And when I think lunch came or bathroom break, we just had like a little ceasefire. And when we started to back up, people was like, "Oh, you starting early right now." And the principal came upstairs, and she's like, "What is going on here? What is going on?" And I literally throw all the crayons out of my desk. I literally put all them things on the floor, and I make like I wasn't doing nothing wrong at all. So I'm like George Bush, man. I start a war, and when that shit gets crazy, I think my brother was calling me George Bush. He was calling me, he was saying, "You like George Bush, man. You start some shit, and you want to act like you had nothing to do with it when it gets crazy." So I didn't get in trouble, but the thing was, this kid William, so Tyree got suspended, because I remember Sister Ellen was like, she said, "Evidence. I see evidence in your desk. Evidence. And he got suspended because she found crayons in his desk. I threw all mine out. I threw all mine on the floor. And this kid, William, who was real bad, he said, I wasn't there when it happened, but he said, "Fuck you, Sister Ellen," and that got him expelled. Because he one time was so defiant to Miss Comey. He was getting sent down a lot, but he said, "Fuck you, Sister Ellen." I wasn't there to hear it, but they expelled him, so I didn't have to deal with him no more. But I fought him. Speaking of Tyree, so one time Tyree, he put a "kick me" sign on my back, and my brother happened to be not far away. This is during dismissal time, as the class is being led downstairs by the teacher. He puts a "kick me" sign on my back. And I'm like, who put this right here? He started laughing, and my brother wasn't far, so he saw what happened. I don't know what my brother did, but I guess he may have talked to him. I don't know if he threatened him. But the next day, I'm here in the morning time. He's like at the school with his dad, and he looking at me real angry. I don't know what my brother did, but that's one thing I can say. My brother did have my back when I was getting messed with in school. Like I said, it was a lot of, I wasn't getting bullied. It was just, I was fighting a lot. I didn't know how to control myself. So when Omari and I fought in the bathroom, Miss Comey found out. She sent us both downstairs, because she said, "You guys were fist fighting." She sent us downstairs. and I was getting sent down so many times, not really for what I did, but the amount of times that I was getting sent, I got suspended. And if it would have been one more time, they would have expelled me. So this is when I completely stopped fighting. Because oh yeah, by the way, I broke his pinky. I remember the father was telling me, the priest was all like, he could sue you because you broke his pinky, but he put his hands on me too. So that day, like I said, I remember I was just home for the whole day. I was doing work, and I really didn't get in trouble because like my dad understood that I was just fighting a lot. And 2005, like I said, the school year, like I said, I still didn't have friends that I could go to over their house and hang out with. I know kids do that. And I really would never really know, but kids do those kind of things with each other during the weekend. I didn't hang out with nobody. I didn't have people I called friends. So the program my brother was in called PFL, there was one kid that I was trying to be friends with, because his sister was in PFL too. So it was a kid named James Brown, and I got his phone number, and we would talk on the phone, and I'm gonna talk about him a little later. But he was like a friend that I just talked to when I wait for my brother at PFL, but I still didn't have friends. So any interaction I had with kids my age were always through parents. So my dad had a friend he grew up with as a kid who still lived in North Philly. We'll just call it Mr. Byron. I don't have nothing against him. He had nephews and he had a daughter. So I hung out with his nephews, and for the whole Memorial Day weekend, which was like falling on my dad's birthday, we had so much fun, man. It was a cookout. We played manhunt. We played football, baseball, all kinds of ball. It was a nice cookout. The girlfriend and the daughter came, but we still had fun. And I also want to throw this in. My cat turned on me when I left for that period of time. See, when I came, like those 2 times around 2003, he wasn't attacking me. So I don't understand why he hated me so much when I came back during my birthday. But my cat was confined in her room, so I really wasn't seeing my cat like that. And I was even trying to get his name changed to Eddie, like in to pay homage to Eddie Guerrero, the wrestler. I was trying to get his name changed to Eddie. So Eddie Guerrero was my favorite wrestler at the time, but we kept it as Binky. And 05, like I said, it was a pretty good year. Some movies. So understand, back in the day, when movies were released on DVD, you had to wait 5 months if you didn't see a movie. So understand around this time, we're in the age of DVDs and CDs. The internet is not really big at that point. So I'm gonna do another part.